Justin Benson is co-founder of Shiloh AI, which is a platform providing real-time call grading, intuitive coaching, and AI-driven insights that helps teams become more productive and profitable. With millions of training hours in over 15 languages, Shiloh's industry-leading technology delivers speech to text, accuracy, and real-time feedback that reshapes agents' performance. So, Justin, I'd love to know before we do a deep dive into the product, what inspired the creation of Shiloh and this AI platform?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, honestly, the inspiration for it in the very beginning, a lot of people know me. Also, I didn't cut all my hair off. It's back here still. It's a lot to keep the hair going. So don't worry, everybody that's watching this. We're known as like for bar agency, right, in the industry, kind of this fractional CTO agency that like helps solve all of these complex problems for primarily large format teams. And one of our CTO clients, Levi Rogers, a decent sized team, 250 to 300 agents out in San Antonio, big Zillow Flex team. He came to us like a year and a half ago and he was like, hey, man, all of these Zillow Flex advisors have some pretty incredible data on all of my calls. Is there any way you can use any of this new AI witch magic I keep hearing about and get me some of that data instead? So we were like, maybe we'll see. It's still early days of AI. Kind of crazy to say a year and a half ago is early days to see how far it's come already. But we said, if you're down to spend 3 months on a prototype project that may or may not work out, if anybody can build it, I really do feel confident in our ability. So a month later, we had a prototype spooled up, and it was like bare bones, no custom training. It was even pre-GPT. I think it was using like the Da Vinci model back then. And it was just listening to all of the calls that happened as Follow-Up Boss, transcribing it, giving a call rating, a summary, an outcome, and like one line kind of pretty generic coaching, like, hey, be more concise or use less filler words, things like that, right? And we watched him use it over 6 months, and some interesting stuff started to happen. Like we watched the sales managers go from managing 30 agents as their cap to 60 agents, and now with the full board product, there's one sales manager that's at 88 agents that he's managing, and he's outperforming the rest of the organization. So that one was interesting, like the increase in productivity. The other one was we thought agents wouldn't want access to this thing because agents primarily don't really want to log into anything, like let alone their even CRM, right? So we were like, agents won't want access to this. We were terribly wrong, like very, very wrong. Agents wanted access to it. And it made it fun to gamify something at the top of the funnel that was not just like sheer volume of calls or dials made, right? It could gamify the quality of conversations. It kind of became like this video game to try to get a 5-star rating from Shiloh, right? Or the prototype back then. And then we also, the third thing that caught our interest was that he was saving commissions. There was like 5 use cases over 6 months where they saved deals that they would have otherwise lost because they were able to catch the conversations going wrong earlier in the sales cycle, opposed to what normally happens is we, hand a lead to an agent and maybe they don't do the best job and they lose that lead. And we find out about it 3 months later in some pipeline review, but we've lost the commission as a team at that point, right? They were able to save those commissions. So I went to Levi and I said, hey, so you're scaling 100% without additional overhead. Your agents are more interested in making calls than they ever have been. And also you're saving commissions that you wouldn't have otherwise had. This might be worth building for real. So that initiated on our side a year journey of downloading millions of hours of calls and training this AI from the ground up to really know real estate at a very deep and intricate level. Like Shiloh's coaching feedback is not generic anymore. It's going to tell you not just like what you can improve on, but exactly how as well in most use cases. So it's been a lot of fun to build it, and it's really cool to see the feedback that we're getting from all of our teams.
How did you train the AI? Was it built off of a specific coaching model, or was it just self-learning, like it listened to conversations and listened to outcomes and learned this is how conversations usually flow that come from a positive outcome? How did it get trained?
Yeah, so we didn't want to abide by one specific coaching framework because there's a lot of different coaching frameworks that exist out there, right? We wanted to find a solution that could match most of them. So in its assessment of even just call rating, right, Shiloh takes into consideration a myriad of data and points. But in the sales model, because we also have a customer service model and a recruiting model and lead source specific models, but in the sales model initially, we made sure that it cared about three things the most. The first one was your ability to inspire confidence in somebody on the other side of the phone. So like that's step number one, and every coach can agree on like, yes, we got to inspire confidence. We need to be competent in what we do. And we also need to be confident in what we're saying to our clients. So that way they feel like they can trust us through this pretty emotional process that is buying the most expensive thing they'll probably buy in their entire life or sell, right? So that's the first thing it cares a whole lot about. The second thing is your proficiency in dealing with objections. And obviously there's a wide array of proficiency from like, I've seen agents just completely ignore somebody says some objection and they go, cool. Then they move on to the next thing, or all the way to being able to artfully reframe the objection to something pretty that could be positive for that client without being salesy or lying or being deceptive, right? Shiloh also cares a lot about you not being deceptive to people. So that's the second thing it cares about is objections. And then the third thing it cares the most about is keeping sales momentum rolling at all times with some kind of next step, right? So in its assessment of call rating, a 1 to 2 means it needs improvement. A 3 is a satisfactory call. A 4 is a great call, and a 5 is you should go ahead and download that call and train your future agents because they don't happen that often. And a 1 to 2 historically means that they failed at 1 or 2 or all 3 of those things, right? A 3 means that they checked off all 3 boxes, but it might be like a little loose. Like, hey, Lena, I'm going to send you some listings here in a little bit. Let's just follow up next week and find a time to chat. Okay, like we attempted to set a next step, but like we all know that those loose ended. Like if somebody tells me, hey, I'll just follow up with you tomorrow. I don't know. I got 16 meetings tomorrow. Like good luck getting a hold of me if it's not on my calendar, right? So Shiloh's going to give coaching right away that says, hey, Justin, to make that a 4, what you should have done, or what you should have done is, hey, Alina, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to shoot you a email that's got all of these homes that we just talked about. And I'm wide open on Saturday right now. Our best next step is let's just put a time on the calendar now to go ahead and take a look at your top 2 or 3 homes to see what's out there in the market. It'll give you a real good gauge, right? So some kind of firm committed next step will generally move it to a 4. And then the difference between a 4 and a 5 is all things neuro-linguistic programming. So fancy word for psychology and sales, and that's anchoring positive outcomes, reframing objections, mirroring cadence, managing your own emotional state going into the conversation. Shiloh does and continues to do even better and better day by day at acknowledging and being able to sense that stuff, right? So if I wanted that example to turn into a 5 and say you're a first-time home buyer, Alina, the best way I could probably do it would say, be something along the lines of, all right, Alina, I got to set up for 1 o'clock on Saturday. Excited to meet you, but honestly, more excited for you to understand what it feels like to move into a house and not be forced to repaint another wall ever again, or patch some holes with some toothpaste because you didn't have spackling. Pray to God you got your security deposit back. Like moving into a place that's actually yours for the first time is a really special feeling, and I'm most excited for you to experience that. So we'll meet on Saturday at 1 o'clock and I'll walk you through all the next steps, right? That kind of emotional connection, tying it, positively framing it to a greater why is what would make Shiloh hand out a 5, essentially. So yeah, that framework generally agrees with almost every sales framework that exists out there. So,
Well, yeah, I know a lot of viewers are most interested in one of the 3 models you mentioned. You mentioned there's a sales model, there's customer service, there's recruiting. And a lot of the viewers are visual learners. So would you be open to screen sharing and kind of showing what the grading system looks like for agents and how an agent or a sales manager can help an agent improve their performance?
oh yeah, of course. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I'm gonna share screen, Shiloh AI. There it is. All right. I think everybody can see my screen now. Yeah?
Yes.
All right, so this is Shiloh. Welcome, everybody. This is Levi Rogers' live data. This is not like fake demo data. So just to let you know, it's like seamlessly integrated to Follow Up Boss in real time. Setup, onboarding literally takes 5 minutes. It's enter API key, configure agents, configure stages, and you're done. It's that fast. And we made it really simple. There's no integration configuration to do on our side for teams and groups and sources and stages and agents and tags. We just abide by however you set it up in Follow Up Boss. So if you add an agent to a team in Follow Up Boss, count 2 seconds, they're going to reflect here inside of Shiloh. So that way it makes it even really quick from this dashboard. Like Levi's got 8 sales managers with 8 teams. I can go to, oh geez, he's at 90 agents now. Go to group 3, grab that, and all of this data is going to reorg itself to just the calls that were made by agents inside of group 3 in the past 30 days, or team 3. what we can do even further is like he's got groups inside of Follow Boss. Like here's a group of the agents that make over 100 grand every year. There's 16 of those agents inside of group 3. Let's just look at how they're doing. And surprise, surprise, they're better because they're probably the best agents on the team. But let's like look at just a specific lead source like Zillow Flex, or a specific stage in the CRM. Like let's look at the calls that were made in the appointment set stage, or even just outbound calls, right? Or we can even filter by time or rating or a different time frame. We want to make this invisible thing called calls very visible really, really quickly, right? And these filters are, it's like helpful on this dashboard. This dashboard refreshes every 5 minutes automatically because it's meant to hang up in a sales room somewhere. But those filters really come into handy when you get to the call screen over here, right? So I've already kind of pre-filtered a couple calls for us on this side. And again, this is like live data. So I'm seeing this at the same time you guys are seeing it. So I just grabbed a top of funnel, like set a stage over here and calls over 2 minutes, it looks like. So let's grab I don't know. Let's look at this one. They wanted to cancel an appointment. Let's look at like a true Aaron Stevens listing consultation. Okay, sounds good. So this is Shiloh. This is as like zoomed in as we can get, right? So we have our agent, contact, lead source, call rating, and the stage in which the call was placed. We don't care what it is in the CRM when we're this zoomed in, right? Because the stage in which the call was placed actually gives us context for how this call should have gone, right? We have the summary, the outcome, and a bunch of cool data about filler words, questions asked, monologues, and talk to listen ratio. But on the right side is where you can interact with the actual call transcript, listen to the recording, all of that good stuff. And our whole goal on this side is let's make sure that we are 1 click or less away from exposing the data inside of this call transcript that you care the most about. Because historically, you would just have to like truck through this 9-minute call in a transcript and try to figure out what happened. But we allow all of the users to put keywords in the settings section for the most important things that they want to listen to, right? So like on this call, it looks like Zillow Home Loans was mentioned once, Zillow once, Cylinder twice, House 3 times. So if I want to go to that moment where they mentioned House, I click on that and the transcript sorts itself down to just those moments. I can click on the call transcript and it start playing the recording right there from that moment. Same thing with Zillow or whatever you want to look at. Or you can search by any arbitrary word. You can filter by sentiment. You can hover over the top of this to be able to see the sentiment as well. We just want to make it really, really quick to expose that data. But Shiloh finally starts to show where all those millions of hours of training really came into play when you get to this agent coaching tab, right? So on every single call, Shiloh is going to give you the top moments and the top possible improvements, right? So this is a 3. We can basically take it to the bank that setting clear next steps did not go that well on this call. And lo and behold, appointment not set, but there's some next steps created, right? So yeah, Aaron did a great job with building rapport, acknowledging upgrades and transparency on some market conditions. And where possible, Shiloh's not just going to tell you like what you did or like what you did well or what you can improve on, but actually how you did well and how you can improve, right? So this one's like Aaron did an excellent job setting the stage for the conversation by explaining the purpose of the call and emphasizing the importance of building rapport. So she did a really great job on that rapport building side. But when we go to the possible improvements, right, Aaron could have been more proactive in setting clear next steps. The call ended abruptly. For example, suggesting a follow-up to discuss the listing price and market strategy in detail would have been beneficial. Or even reframing some of the client concerns about owner financing, or these are also a lot of fun, like persuasive techniques. It looks like they were talking about a pool at some point in here, so I guess that's probably what they're talking about, but Aaron enhanced persuasive techniques by using more positive language, creating strong associations. Instead of saying, unfortunately, we can't get all of the money you spent on it out of the home, Aaron could say, hey, the upgrades you made will definitely add significant value and appeal to the potential buyers. So maybe they're approaching the conversation that like this person built their own pool and they just realized that they might have spent 50 grand, but the appraiser's only going to adjust for 20 grand on that. Probably this kind of language, somebody wants you to fall in love with their home if you're going to list it, right? So that kind of language is not ideal for winning confidence on that side. So doing those things would have moved this to a 4 or a 5. So I don't know, Elena, any questions from you on this side as far as the individual call screen is concerned?
Yes. So does Erin receive a report on this at all?
Yes, so Erin receives a report and she has her own individual login to see this stuff and in real time. So Erin has access to all of this data on all of her calls, as well as we spool it up for admins and the owner account. We spool it up to the org level, so you have a high level overview of like how your team is performing with the same filter sets. Or you can go, like, let's say we were looking at Ava, their ISA, for example, right? We could go to Ava, and all of the agents have access when they click this button to their own individual agent coaching pages. So does that answer that question?
Yes, and you had mentioned you have a team with a sales manager who's now managing 88 agents. That's a lot
90
of
now,
data. Or 90.
actually. Yeah.
So yeah, you just showed on the screen there's 90 now. That's a lot of data. Like it's super helpful, but it's a lot. So how is one person managing 90 agents with all this data? How does a sales manager, what does a sales manager do with all of that?
Yeah, sales manager, team leader, mentor. There's a lot of different words for these people in like team land, you know? So regional team lead, there's all kinds of different like ways that people describe this. But basically, anybody that's in charge of coaching and the success of multiple agents that are underneath them, basically, right? So the way that it kind of really it expedites the ability to manage them is because you can go over here to their agent coaching profile. And Ava's made 102 calls in the past 30 days. Historically, we would just cherry pick some calls and listen to the recordings and pray to God we pick the right calls and then give Ava some feedback on our one-to-one. We don't have time to listen to 102 calls. It's literally impossible, right? But Shiloh's doing that for you. So you can go to the overview pretty quick and go, okay, like let's see how Ava's doing. Like she's doing okay. Like in the past 30 days, her call rating has decreased by 0. So she's held at a 2.8. All of that looks great. Filler words have gone up a bit, but overall call volume is up. So let's just really quickly go down to the calls that she's struggled with, ones and twos. And if we do that, we can see how all the data changes. And also, let's look at the lead sources. She's got 8 Zillow Flex leads that it looks like she struggled with. So let's just pull for the filter of Zillow Flex. Go there. And now, I need to stop doing this in my dev environment. Sorry, 1 second. Zillow Flex. There we go. Rating 1 and 2. And that fast, I'm face to face with just the calls that she struggled with. And now I can pull these up with Ava and go, okay, let's like diagnose what happened with Devin here. Like, here's the summary. He requested times that were unavailable. Devin declined to reschedule. I look at this transcript, super short. Ava basically just let him right off the phone, it looks like. He said, I can always give you guys a call back to reschedule if I need to. Okay, no worries. Sorry about that. Let him off the phone. Okay, this deserves it too. Like any ISA that's out there, this is like a dagger to the soul to watch something like this happen. This person's literally trying to see a house. There's 300 agents on this team. Somebody can show it, right? So the agent coaching, like Ava has access to this stuff even prior to meeting with her like sales manager or mentor. So like setting some clear next steps. Can I pencil you in for a tentative time tomorrow and follow up with you in the morning to confirm? That alone would have gotten this to a 3 because like let's just at least offer the value of like let's set the appointment for what works for them, and there's 300 agents on this team. We'll find somebody to go open that door, right? Or even anchoring like the availability, like creating some urgency behind it. Like, hey, our bar stop agent's available all day tomorrow, and seeing the property early can give you a head start if you decide to make an offer. So instead of being okay with the, yeah, I'll just call back to reschedule if necessary, creating some urgency behind it and saying like, giving them some value to seeing it tomorrow, right? All of this coaching feedback, like I'm cheating with Ava a little bit here because I actually know that she's got a issue when she gets one little piece of pushback like that. She gets a little scared and she just gets off the phone right away, right? So that quickly, within a few minutes as a sales manager, I know exactly what to talk to Ava about. And it's not my opinion, it's just actually the data that's here in front of us, right? So what used to take us hours to do takes us minutes to do. And one cool little sneak peek is that very soon, in about a month and a half, we're going to have a little button here that says Shiloh's Insights. One thing that I kind of hate is that you still have to dig through these calls a little bit to surface that data. The AI is better at correlative data comparisons and trends than even we are, and it can do it in milliseconds. So what I want is for an agent or a sales manager to be able to like, okay, let's just look at all 102 calls, click on Shiloh's Insights. Shiloh's going to read through that bulk of calls in seconds and then show you the top moments and the top areas of improvement over that entire call set, right? Depending on what filter you have pulled here. So
That's cool. Yeah, just like an overall common occurrences type
yeah,
summary.
Exactly. And then for the bigger teams, like being able to spool that up to the org level up here, have a Shiloh's Insights button and be able to go like, I don't know, let's look at how we're doing with Zillow Flex over the last 30 days. There's 1,900 calls in there. That's way too much to listen through. Let's just have Shiloh go listen through all of those in like 2 seconds. Shiloh's going to tell us where we're succeeding and where we could probably improve. So,
What does, you have mentioned customer service. What job roles typically fall under customer service?
so as far as like the customer service model is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you. I'll give you a sneak peek of what that actually looks like on this side. So, okay, the agent side of things. You can go ahead and assign one of those models to an individual agent inside of the system, or you can go to stages and assign a model to a specific stage in your CRM. And that's mostly useful for like what I was talking about. Like under contract, the conversation changes a little bit. There are some instances where I don't know, I'm talking to you about your seller disclosures, and Shiloh, if you're using the sales model, unnecessarily punishes you for not setting an appointment on Thursday at 1 o'clock to follow up about like said seller disclosures. You're like, chill, Shiloh, not necessary here. So the customer service model instead escalates the what it takes into consideration is you not letting that person off the phone until you've explained the entire process and they've confirmed that they understand that process, right? So each model will have its own specific flavor. And what will be happening is that when you, sorry, again, I'm in a dev environment here, but when you actually go ahead and hover over these states, it'll show you what model was used to grade it and Shiloh's reasoning for exactly how this could have become a 5. So, yeah.
As far as CRM integration, what does that entail? What does that look like?
Yeah, so on the Fault Boss side, it is lightning fast to get integrated. Like I said, the onboarding call, that's that part of things is like literally, it's 5 minutes. Enter API key, configure agents, configure stages. I actually have a big call with Follow Boss this week, Thursday, where we're going to show off the prototype of the Follow Boss embedded app, where we're going to push all the call grades and brief, concise data back to Follow Boss in an embedded app with the ability to click a button and go pop out to Shiloh and see kind of the larger call reporting screen that's involved there, right? So all of that would be very simple to use. The app would get initialized automatically for everybody. Because of the bar agency experience, we wanted to make sure that this was as seamless and easy to set up as humanly possible, and that our operational staff that is like thinking about implementing this, that they know that there's no operational tax to getting this implemented in their world, right? This is not going to be some big giant 3-month setup or anything like that. It's literally going to take you 5 minutes. So
Yeah, on that topic of it not being a huge undertaking to set up, who is Shiloh an ideal customer for? Do you have to be a large team to take advantage of Shiloh, or who's the ideal customer?
no, I mean, we have smaller teams like Chase Whitney, our mutual friend, is a team of like 3 agents, and they're using it as like a fun tool to challenge each other to like fun call competitions and things like that. So small teams all the way up to big, giant, mega sized teams are using this thing. And I guess the only person, we have a couple solo agents that are using it just for like the call feedback, but ideally it's really meant for teams essentially. So.
Cool. Well, thank you, Justin, for your time and for the screen share. I'm really appreciative of you sharing Shiloh with our audience and with our viewers. And for those of you watching, if you are curious to learn more about Shiloh, if you want to book a demo, I will include a link to learn more about Shiloh in the description. And as Justin mentioned, he's going to be doing a webinar with Follow Boss by the time this recording is pushed. That recording will also happen, so I will put a link to that as well. So thanks again, Justin, and I'll see you at Unlock in just like less than a week, which was crazy. That's already week.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me. Seriously, it's I have so much respect for you and what you do for teams. Like you are an invaluable part of this community. So thanks for doing what you do.
I appreciate it, Justin. Take care.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.